All month, Fox 61 is celebrating International Women's History Month, and today we're focusing on your money and how women can be empowered to own our finances. Joining me right now, Sylvia Guinan. She is the Senior Vice President and Financial Advisor with Wells Fargo Advisors. Sylvia, thanks for being with us. It's great to see you.
It's always great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Now, money is an important topic, but it's also a topic that people tend to shy away from, especially women. But that is something that needs to change. Right? And you were just talking about that. It's so important.
Absolutely. I say, like, number one, it's change your mindset, right? I think, as women, we share everything with our friends. We talk about, our relationships, our makeup regimen, our workout thing. I mean, there's nothing that we won't talk about other than finances, right? It's something that we all keep inside. And it really, if you take a look at one of the number one stressors, right? I looked at some figures from the American Psychological Association. It is the number one stressor, your finances.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So what do we need to do, or what do we need to start doing?
Yeah, so I think, number one, again, is changing your mindset. Even though it's something you do not want to address, like, kind of sit down, get your arms around it, talk about it, get comfortable. If you're married or you have a partner and you haven't been involved in the finances and everything seems to be working well, still make it a point to get involved, right? Because, unfortunately, sometimes relationships don't work out, marriages end, sometimes, unfortunately, people pass away suddenly, and you want to have a handle on it when you're in a good emotional place versus when you're dealing with, a difficult situation.
And then what about once we know what we've got? We've got that paycheck. We hear a lot about budgeting. Some people are able to do it. Sometimes we just put it off.
Yeah.
It's something that we really have to do. That's what you're saying.
Yes, that's number two. I mean, I think it's key, right? Because without a budget, right, so many times we just spend, or we do things.
Kind of like the sky's the limit.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
You need to rein it in.
You need to rein it in, and you need to set up a system to ideally, right, like pay yourself, right? So put it into, which I would say is point number three, right? Like, have some kind of an emergency fund,
right,
so that you're not worried about everything, right? So have yourself some savings, and then you can kind of talk about, step number four, which is then you can start trying to think about setting up some investments and some things. And I think that the key is, everybody talks about, and right now, we might be experiencing some volatile markets. But the reality is, if you have your safety fund, right, and you have that perspective that your investments are your long term, I think that helps you sleep better and be a little bit more relaxed about it.
And what should we know about how much is enough for safety and for savings?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. They say that for your safety, your rainy day account, you should really have enough, ideally, to cover your bills for 3 months. So if anything goes wrong, you can cover everything. I always like to suggest 6 months.
6 months,
Just
to be safe, a little bit more pad, and that's everything from mortgage, car payments, utilities and things like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then what about building wealth? What are your tips for that?
I think, again, the younger we start, the easier it is, right? But I think so many times we say, oh, well, I can't do it now, or I'm paying for this right now, I'm paying for colleges, whatever it is, it's too hard for us to save. I think every little bit counts. So even if you're doing a little bit at a time, it really starts to add up, right? So I think, again, like, don't put it last. Pay yourself as you would pay a bill. So,
right,
start your own automatic fund transfer, have it done every month, or if you get paid biweekly, have it done that way. But even if it's a little, do it.
You know what? I think that's one thing that women struggle with, at least, as moms. We tend to say, hey, all right, you know what, maybe I'm not going to get this because the kids need new sneakers, or, one of them needs a new bike. And so we tend to put off our wants, which is very normal for women, moms, right?
It is, because we're the caregivers. We want to take care of everyone else.
That's what we do. That's kind of that's how we're wired.
And again, mindset, here's what I think, right? As our kids get older, we don't want to be a burden on our kids either. So it's really, even though you feel guilty about maybe doing it for yourself right now, do it because you want to be able to take care of yourself, as you age, and not have your kids have to worry about whether you're going to be okay or not.
All right, really great tips. Now, any other ways people can follow your progress, or any other tips and future events you might be having?
Oh, thank you for asking. We're actually hosting something on the 29th at the Greenwich Junior League, and it's the same thing. We're going to be talking about financial makeover for women. How do we kind of make over our mindset about finances? How do we make over, our budgets? How do we decide on investments,
right,
that are important, how to get started? So, and it is, even though it's a junior league event, it's open to everyone.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah, because this is kind of like just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, if you really want to go and get a lot more information, bring a notebook and head mindset there, right?
It is, and you know what? There's going to be other things there. There'll be nutritionalists. You know, there's going to be dermatologists. There's going to be a lot of other things that we can learn. But I love the fact that, you know, again, it's becoming something that's going to be part of the mindset for women, right? Our finances.
To share about it, to talk about it, and to be smarter about it.
Exactly. Yes.
Sylvia, thanks so much for being with us. I appreciate your time. Really important reminders and tips for everybody out there.
Always a pleasure.